What inspired you to become an attorney?
Well, my parents would probably say that I liked to argue a lot as a child. Probably more the truth be told was when I was 21, I saw a friend do a jury trial in a small town in California, and I was the only person in the courtroom watching the trial. It was a jury trial, and it was just really exciting to see. And it had such an impact on me. I think I knew right then I wanted to become a trial lawyer sometime in the future. Didn't happen until later on in my life after I played professional baseball, but I did have that opportunity, fortunately. Working with clients is the most fun about this job, period. People come in, they have all sorts of different types of concerns, questions, problems, injuries. And in that first meeting with a potential client, it's my opportunity to get to know these people, find out a little bit of who they are, what they're about, to answer their questions, and to try to put them at least somewhat at ease during that initial meeting. And hopefully, during the course of handling their case, continue to put them at ease over the long run, to the point where when we end the case, they can walk away and say, "Thank you so much for helping me with this. You made this walk down the yellow brick road much more easy for me. You took a lot of the fear away." And that truly is the best part about this job, is to be able to take a client from point A to point B, from the beginning to the end of the case, and have made it worth their while.
What is it you enjoy the most about your job?
The most enjoyable thing about my job is working with my clients, getting to know them, getting to learn a little bit about them through the course of their case. When folks come in for the first time, and they may potentially become clients, I'm going to sit across the table from them, talk with them, try to help them as far as their concerns, their fears, their anxieties, because everybody comes in here initially with those issues. To be able to talk to them, put them at least somewhat at ease after a first meeting is very gratifying, and it's what I enjoy doing for people who seek our help. From there, if they become clients of ours, I'm going to walk them down the yellow brick road, so to speak, continue to help explain things to them along the way, talk with them, listen to them, hear what their concerns are, and do the best job I possibly can to make their experience from the beginning of the case to the end of the case worth their while. I get no more of a big kick out of handling cases than when my clients come to me at the end of the case and say, "Thank you so much for making this a worthwhile process, one that was less worrisome for me than I thought it would be at the beginning."
It's like a touchstone.
Yeah. There are several cases that I've had over the years where clients, their situation has had a profound impact upon me. One that comes to mind probably more often than not is an auto accident out in the rural area here in Jackson County. A young girl, a teenager, was very seriously injured in an auto accident to the point where she had sustained very serious damage to her stomach region, her internal organs, and to the point where they basically had to reroute her plumbing internally. It had a profound effect on her. It affected the way she took in meals, how often she had to use the bathroom, etc. Some things that were very painful for her to talk about. And it was a very scary process for her going through the entirety of the litigation process. The case went into court, and fortunately we were able to settle the case in front of a judge during a mediation. The best thing about that was the knowledge that my feeling that the client had gotten a good sense of justice in terms of her result out of the case, but equally importantly that she had gotten a settlement that was worked out in a way that would pay her monthly for the rest of her life. Because she's such a young woman, that was something that was very important to her, and I still recall that case quite often, even to the present. My primary focus is doing personal injury work. That can be auto accidents, premises liability, landlord-tenant claims, any type of case that involves an injury, dealings with insurance companies, or anything of that sort. What I also do a little bit on the side is my practice, developing practice of sports law. This past year I had the privilege of working with a well-known sports agent for two Major League ball players with the Los Angeles Dodgers, both of whom were eligible for salary arbitration for the first time in their careers. If the players were not able to agree to contracts, the cases would go to arbitration back in Florida. And I had the privilege, again, of working with the agent toward drafting legal briefs on behalf of both of the ball players that, if the cases had gone to arbitration, would have been submitted to the arbitrators. The work was such that it helped the agent negotiate very good contracts for both of the ball players, and I look forward to continuing my working relationship with that agent in the future.
Why are you passionate about sports law?
I suspect my sports law practice, the reason for that is because of my prior work before I was an attorney. I was a professional baseball player. I played minor league baseball for 6 years in the Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, and Baltimore Orioles organizations. I reached as high as the AAA level, the top level of the minor leagues, with both the Phillies and the Mets. I enjoy sports. I always have since I was a young kid. I continue even as an older adult now. So the opportunity to engage in both the law and the sports is something that I suspect is natural for me, but it's something that's also very enjoyable, and it keeps those juices flowing in terms of my enjoyment of sports. I'm going to do it in the reverse order anyway. All right. The reason I would recommend Black, Chapman, Weber, and Stevens to anybody who needs a personal injury attorney is based on two things. First of all, I used to be a defense attorney down here in Southern Oregon for the first 4.5 years of my attorney experience. 9 years ago, I came over here to Black, Chapman, Weber, and Stevens, and I chose Black, Chapman, Weber, and Stevens because when I was a defense attorney, I felt that they were the most accomplished firm in the Valley. I felt that they were the most prepared firm in the Valley. When I was defending cases, I was probably most worried about defending cases against the Black, Chapman, Weber, and Stevens firm compared to other practitioners in the Valley. They were always prepared. You knew their staff was efficient. The work was done, all the T's were crossed, and all the I's were dotted. The other reason I would recommend someone to this firm is when you consider who we have here, you're talking about over 150 years of experience. That may sound like we're quite old, but there is no substitute for experience. There is probably not an issue, a legal matter that is out there for the type of work we do that we haven't seen in the past. And if one of us has a question, we can probably go to one of the other partners and get that answer pretty darn quickly. And that's what makes working for this firm so much fun and so enjoyable for me.